All right. So I'm super excited because we're going to be talking about building a brand, both making it work on Amazon and then some things you could do to take it off Amazon, which I know is the dream for many Amazon sellers. So super excited to get into this conversation here with Amy Weiss from Amazing at Home. So Amy, thanks for coming on Maximizing E-commerce.
Thank you for having me, Kevin.
Yes. So just if you don't mind, just what's the quick background on your story, how you got into this whole game?
Oh, geez, the quick
It doesn't
back.
have to be too quick. Feel free to elaborate as you see fit.
Well, first, it's great to be here. And, I started like many start selling in e-commerce. And in 2007, I was in the Air Force at the time. And I was in college. I was going to college and I was buying textbooks and they were super expensive. So I would go on Amazon, and look for, hey, did somebody else just finish this class?
Hmm.
How can I get this textbook cheaper? And I saw this little button that said sell yours here. So it was in 2007. And
Okay, so that was very early on in all this.
yeah. And so I saw that button and I was like, ooh, okay, sell yours here. I like it. I can not only buy a discounted textbook here, but I can flip it and
Right.
sell it when I'm done with this class, right? So I started doing that and then I started flipping like everything in my house because I was like, Amazon did a really good job even back then. They did a really good job of like onboarding you and introducing you to the app and helping you understand how to list. Even back then it wasn't really like FBA wasn't really a thing. It was more
Hmm.
like merchant fulfilled and how can you list your used things on our marketplace. And so I started selling. I had CDs, a huge CD collection back then. I sold those. I used to make my own packaging. I'm so embarrassed about this now, but I would go
No, this is
to,
cool.
I would go to like the US Postal Service and I would grab like the priority mailboxes and I would turn them inside out and make my own packaging for my
Oh,
CDs
really?
because they were free. I didn't,
Uh-huh.
I didn't know. It's not
You're
like I was,
being resourceful. You're paying for it
yeah.
with your tax dollars anyway.
And it wasn't like I was moving like massive volume or anything. It was like,
Right.
oh, okay, I made a sale this week. Like, let me go pick up a couple of priority mailboxes and package a few of these CDs, right? So at first I would do that, or I would just find like boxes from the grocery store. I would flip them inside out. I would cut them to size. And I just started selling whatever I had, old stuff. I would do it on Facebook Marketplace and stuff like that back then
Hmm.
too. But it was so cool to me that this idea of selling it and shipping it to the customer, because most of the
Right.
stuff that you would sell like local on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace, someone would come to your house and pick it up. So this idea of I can list my CDs or I can list my Guitar Hero set or whatever on Amazon. And then when the customer buys it, I can
Hmm.
ship it out. It just opened up this whole new world for me. And I started selling on eBay too, but I didn't like it because the customers were bad. They would like, I would sell a perfectly good laptop that I had completely tested and everything was fine. And those eBay customers, man, they know exactly what they have to say to basically scam you out of whatever they paid for. And
Right, right,
so,
right.
so I stopped selling on eBay. But anyway, I was doing that for a long time, just flipping stuff. Nothing, I didn't have like a business. It was just like a little side hustle kind of for fun
Kind of a
thing.
profitable hobby.
Yeah, exactly. And it was just kind of fun to figure it out. I remember one time I was at Goodwill and I saw this pile of cameras, these Polaroid cameras, and I
Mm.
looked them up on Amazon because back then there was like no seller app, where you could like look them up. I would just search for them on Amazon and I saw that they were selling for $40 and they were in this bin for like $6 or something like that. And
Okay.
I was like seeing gold, suddenly I could see a potential outside of the stuff I was flipping at my house. Um,
Mm.
so I did a little bit of that, but not on any kind of massive scale and continued that. And then we were in the Air Force and my husband got stationed. He got orders to Hawaii in 2011, I think it was. And
Okay.
so I was already a civilian by then, still working for the Air Force. I had gotten out of uniform by then.
Hmm.
And so I stopped selling on Amazon because we were merchant fulfilling. And going to Hawaii, that was really going to be expensive. So I just kind
Right.
of took a break from it. And I did Etsy. While I was in Hawaii, I painted wine glasses and beer steins.
Oh, okay.
And I had a little Etsy shop.
Hmm.
So I've always done something as a hobby. I've had nonprofits. I did like fitness nonprofits, stuff like that. I've always had like a little side gig going on. I've always had a little bound notebook full of ideas. I swear Pinterest was my idea. Someone else just, was smart enough to execute that first.
Hmm.
But, I've always been just one of those like people who's been very creative and has had ideas. And so how I actually got started in private label is in 2017. I was back here in San Antonio, where I live now, San Antonio, Texas. I was working in cybersecurity for the Air Force. And we have 3 cats, and I get really bad migraines from smells and lights
Mm.
and my environment as a whole.
Right.
and so it's not just the cat's fault, right? But yeah, they had a really stinky litter box, and I thought there has to be a way to solve this. And I had bought every kind of litter box on the market, the automatic cleaning ones, all the different ones, all the different litters, everything I could do. And we were cleaning our litter boxes twice a day, and they were still giving me migraines. They were still smelling, still giving me migraines. And we just couldn't solve this problem. So I kept drawing, I kept sketching ideas for either a new litter box or something to solve this problem. Because I was like, I've tried literally everything on the market, and this
Hmm.
can't be impossible. Like, I'm not going to get
Mm.
rid of my pets. Like
Right.
this can't be impossible to solve. And so, for about 6 months, I sketched better litter boxes. And every time I would get to the end of a sketch, it would be like, oh, somebody's already done that. Like, no, I've tried something like that and it didn't work, And I woke up at like 2:00 in the morning and had this like crazy aha moment that the litter box was the problem. And I thought, if I could just have something outside of the litter box that I could quickly pour the litter box into and clean it, then it would work. So I woke up, got out of bed early in the
Oh, wow.
morning, started ripping apart a mesh laundry hamper. It was like
Okay.
my poor husband, he's supportive, thank goodness. But so I'm like ripping apart this mesh laundry hamper, and I'm putting it over like a tub, and I'm just dumping the dirty litter box over the top. And like, I think this will work. I'm making a total mess. The minute Home Depot opens, because I've already torn apart everything that would possibly work in my house, the
Mm.
minute Home Depot opens, I go to Home Depot, and this poor little old man is so helpful. And I'm so terrified to tell him about my idea, like he's going to steal it. Now I know, like 99.9% of people will never steal your idea. They don't care.
Right,
Nor
right, right. We worry too much about that sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. And so, he helps me kind of put together this kind of hardware mesh and different materials. And he helped me find like a waste bin for the bottom part. And anyway, I go home and I build like 3 different versions of this prototype in different sizes.
Hmm.
And I pour the litter box in, and it's ugly. Like, it's ugly. It's not a product that could go on the market.
Right.
But Kevin, it works.
Okay. So
And
put the fun and functional.
yes, it works. And we started using it.
Hmm.
And at first I just thought that I had invented a faster way to clean the litter box, because we were scooping and it was so annoying.
Hmm.
But what happened was, after like 2 weeks of using this thing, we realized that we couldn't smell anything anymore. There was no more smell associated with the litter box. And we were like,
Mm.
we thought maybe we were nose blind. We were like, maybe
Right.
we're just cleaning it too much, and what's going on, right? And we're only cleaning it every other day. And we used to clean it twice a day with a scoop. And so we
Mm.
brought our friends over who had dogs because we're like, we must just be cat people and we can't,
Right. The dog people it'll jump right at them. Yeah.
Exactly. It's like, does our house smell like cats? So we
Mhm.
brought our friend Paula over. I'll never forget. She has two dogs, and she came over to the house, and we brought her into our tiny little laundry room with 3 litter boxes in it. No windows, no nothing, just 3 litter boxes that we had cleaned the day before. And we're like, Paula, we swear we don't smell anything, but we're crazy. And she comes in and she's like, oh my God, it's amazing. She's like, I'm looking at 3 what looks like dirty litter boxes, and I literally smell nothing, not a cat. And I've never gone into anybody's house that has cats, especially not in the room where their litter boxes are, and not smelled the most disgusting thing ever. Right. So then I knew, Kevin, I knew it. I was like, I have to bring this product to market. I never want to go back to scooping. It's disgusting. And this works. It's something that is going to be so important to people, and it's going to change people's lives. And now, all these years later, it has changed a lot of lives. And somebody posted on my page the other day, they said, I posted about how we were just featured in Mashable and a bunch of other major media outlets as a top 10 cat accessory. And this lady posted on there, and she was like, yes, I wish it's the best cat product I've ever bought. I wish it was available 20 years ago. And those are the kind of reviews that we get. Like, we had a famous cat page actually leave us a video review, and they said, and we didn't ask, like, we just found out about it. And she said, this is a famous cat page for like a cat that's being featured, has lots of followers. And she said, this is the only reason I still have cats.
Oh, wow.
I mean,
this is the cat page.
Yes, the cat page. She said, yeah, I just wanted to share with you guys, this is the only reason that we still have cats. And she is the owner of the famous cat page, and it's like, whoa, like, so the whole thing was worth it. So that's how I got started in private label. In 2017, I came up with this idea, and I was like, look, I have to find a way. And I have an MBA and a couple of undergraduate business degrees, but that doesn't teach you how to take a prototype and design it and develop it and turn it into a product on the market. And so I just started sharing my story. I started sharing my story. I knew other people had to have ideas too. And I knew that it couldn't be as impossible as these design firms made it seem. Because if you go to like any of these invent firms or any of these design firms, they want $30,000 just to take your drawing and turn it into something. Right. And so, I was like, no, there has to be a better way. I'm a super resourceful girl. I don't let things stand in my way. And I was like, I'm just going to figure this out, and I'm going to share it with everybody who will listen, because I know there's other people out there that have ideas, and we're going to do this together. And that's how Amazing at Home was born. And that's how I got started.
Okay. Well, that's awesome. So basically you were solving your own problem.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit how you then took this idea, which fast forward to today has gone very well and has gotten really good feedback. But was that like an overnight thing, or was there a little bit of a process in building to there?
Oh my gosh. I wish it was overnight. Yeah. So, the funny thing is, I knew I could launch it on Amazon because there wasn't any barriers to entry. But I didn't know Amazon had changed a lot since I started selling.
Oh, gotcha. Because you took that pause when you were in the beautiful state of Hawaii.
Yeah. And not only that, like, I was like flipping used stuff, and I didn't know exactly what it would look like. And private label became kind of a thing that people were now selling courses for and everything else. And it was different. FBA was now a thing. It was really, really different. And so I thought, okay, I know I can launch it on Amazon, but I've got some learning to do. And I'm not afraid of learning, so, and I still had my super old account. So that was awesome. And what we ended up doing is we tried everything. So like, while we were developing this product, which takes time, it takes time to take something that doesn't exist, that literally we created a new category. There was not litter box cleaners before I brought this thing to market. Like it's hard to educate a customer and explain to them this is not a litter box. Like people still go, yeah, can I buy the litter box? And it's like, it's not a litter box,
Right,
So
right, right.
it's hard to build something that people don't understand. That's an entirely new category that's from scratch. But not only that, I had this new kind of business model to learn. So we started by we went to some like training by Damon John. Now it wasn't Damon John the shark himself that was there. It was like his team supposedly using his name.
Right. Somebody
So
licensed his name or something. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. But it was a really life-changing weekend
Really?
for
Okay.
us.
Good. Good.
Yeah, we learned all about how you should set up three businesses to move money around, how you should, how to leverage debt. We learned about the millionaire mindset. We learned about, like how we've all gone to public school to learn how to grow up and get a job, but that's not
Right.
how the rich do things. And we kind of, that was like our rude awakening. And on that weekend, not only did they present real estate and how to buy bad debt and all these other things, they also presented Amazon private label, the opportunity, which was really interesting because it caused us to revisit it and really helped us go, okay, well, we already knew we were launching on Amazon, but now we know about this private label thing and how we need to pay attention to it. So my husband said, hey, Amy, I think I know a guy that I served with in the military who actually does this Amazon thing. And he called him, he messaged him, and they had been stationed in the desert together, like one of those people that he served with. And he sent him a picture of him on the sidewalk surrounded by bags of Nike shoes. And he was like, yep, I sold over 6 figures just this month on Amazon selling Nike shoes. And so I sent my husband to the Rocky Mountain Reseller Conference in Colorado to learn from his friend that he had been stationed with. And I was like, you're going to go learn from this guy because he knows something. So go learn from him, and they were like they were doing retail arbitrage, going through Walmart, scanning every aisle, everything like that. And so Rashid comes home, my husband comes home from this reseller conference, and he was like, yeah, let's try out retail arbitrage just to learn it, and just do it. So here we are, we're working through the product development of this product, and we're out there scanning stuff at Walmart. And so we started sending in stuff at Walmart. We started prepping. You can see the prep living room behind me here. But we started prepping, started selling Nike shoes, everything. We got ungated in all these different categories. And then we started doing wholesale because we got tired of trying to replenish stuff. So I was like, this is not business. Like,
oh yeah, I quickly dabbled in retail arbitrage and learned it was kind of fun, but it's not sustainable.
Like, not for me. No.
Yeah, no.
So I was like, we have to find a better way to replenish this stuff. Let's take some of these products that are doing well and open up accounts with these brands. And so then we started doing the wholesale model, and I started following Dylan Carter, and we did the wholesale model, and that's when I got really good at listing optimization. I hired somebody to write listings on Fiverr, and they were terrible. And I was like, I can totally do this. I have the mind for this. I love sales. I love copywriting. I love storytelling. I can write a listing. And I discovered that not only could I write a listing, I was damn good at writing listings. So I started putting my offer out on Fiverr because my molds for my product were $42,000. And
oh wow!
And I had my products made in the U.S. And so I do have some lines of products now that are made in China and a couple of different brands. But when I started with this product, it was going to be made in the U.S. It was too expensive to import from China. It was too large. So we had to find a factory in the US. We had to get our molds made in China. We had to ship those molds back. There was a lot to figure out and do. And so
you were trying to make the money for the molds, basically.
Yeah, I don't like debt. And so I was just like, I'm going to hustle. Not only do I have a really good high paying job that can help me fund this, but I'm going to hustle, and we're going to, sell these different products on Amazon, and we don't care. We're just going to hustle. We're going to make it work. So I started doing listings. And I started on Fiverr, and people would come to me, and I would write really good listings for them, and I would turn around saturated products for them. So I would find new keywords for really saturated products and go, okay, nobody's selling felt letterboards in office signs. We're going to write this as an office sign and we're going to sell out. And that's what happened. And people started asking to consult with me. And I was like, wait, consulting? Like, I'm not a business consultant, tell me that today. But yeah, so that's how kind of Amazing at Home started, was both a combination of me telling my story and then people asking to consult with me and me not really having a way to charge them for that. I had this domain name that was going to be a blog website, and it was going to be called Amazing at Home. And I was like, I'm just going to use this domain name and I'll just build myself a little text-based website over the weekend. And then I'll see if I can help some people. I've already helped them with listings. I'll see if I can help them. And word spread really fast. And that is how we just grew so fast. And I had no idea that here I set out to just start a brand and bring up a unique pet product to market. And I ended up at the end of that journey helping now, it's got to be over 1,000 brands now actually launch their products. We have China trips now. Like, it's just grown into this whole community of brand owners and people with that same dream to build something cool and bring it to market. And we're all on this journey together. It's not like me telling everybody we're all figuring it out together. It's a sharing community, and it's just been a really cool ride. But that's how we started. We did wholesale, we did retail arbitrage, and then we started, I sourced my first products from China. Some of them were terrible. I sourced these cat toys in the beginning and they were so saturated by the time I got them to market. And it was terrible. I was sourcing from trading companies back then. I didn't know what importing was. I went through all of these steps. So I always tell people, don't be embarrassed. All of us, it's like a rite of passing, right? All of us have been through these, I don't know how to talk to a supplier. I don't know what I'm supposed to be paying. I don't know how to run my numbers, So yeah, I made all those fun mistakes.
Yeah, it's one of those things we all have to kind of learn it as we go, and we pick up little bits of information here and there. Now, one little thing I feel like I'm learning as I go, I've never heard this 3 companies to set up. What are the 3 companies you were taught to set up? Because now I'm intrigued, and I didn't want to interrupt your flow too much.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So what they're talking about is, as you grow, and especially if you're doing real estate,
okay, gotcha.
You want to make sure that your one company does not hold all of your assets, right? You think of that's why you can never sue a home builder because they don't own anything, right? They immediately move the money to a holding company. And then they, it's they're building, it's under this company name. And then they move the money over here and that company doesn't own any assets. And so you go to sue the person that built your home and you're like, oh, they don't, your lawyer says, oh, they don't own anything. Good luck,
Right.
So that was the thing, is just teaching us that structure of, if you do get into these multiple streams of income and you start, having these different pots, you don't want to have it all under one company because that could be really, really dangerous. So they kind of taught us this 3-company structure, and to really make sure that one single company doesn't own all the assets. And then, talk to us about how to leverage debt and how to use other people's money to get things going. And that's exactly how I got started. I got started with other people's money. I didn't fund things. Other than hustling and working on some things, the debt that I took on was other people's money, and I've now paid all that off. But I still, to this day, I run my companies with credit cards and 0% interest rates, that kind of stuff. And I learned all of that at this one weekend seminar that we paid $2,000 for. But it was worth it because I still use a lot of those techniques to this day.
Awesome. So it sounds like there's a lot of good information there. I give Damon John a lot of credit. I'm sure he would only put his name behind something that was worthwhile. And I remember, I think it was Grant Cardone's 10X Growth Con was in Miami a couple years ago, which is hour and a half from here. So I went, and he was talking, one of the things he talked about was, the difference between a patent and a trademark, and he was just talking about like a trademark is so enforceable, whereas a patent is harder to enforce. I don't know if your experience is the same. Is yours patented? I should ask that.
Yes. So we had to do, so this is a really interesting story.
Mm-hmm.
We had to start with, we started with a utility patent. A utility patent is really hard to get because it takes forever and it's the strongest patent that you can get, right? Mm-hmm. So we started by filing a utility patent in 2017, and we were patent pending at first, and then we did our international patent, and that review came back first, even before our non-provisional utility patent came back. But that review came back first, and they pointed out some things, some prior art, some things that we needed to not claim or change in our claims, right? And so the more novel your idea, if your idea is very novel, if it's something that already pretty much exists, if you can combine, what I mean by novel is if you can combine two things to make your product, it's probably not going to be patentable from a utility standpoint. Now, design patent you can do all day. Like they're very easy. They get approved within like 6 months, because it's just protecting the way something looks, the shape of something. Mm-hmm. But that's when you have to ask yourself, is it worth protecting? Like, should you just use a trademark, right? Could you use a copyright even? Sometimes you can use the copyright for the way something looks, right? And that's okay. The copyright's $35, I mean, why not? So that's the thing is you have to really think about if it's worth it. For me, since I did create a new category and this idea is usable in so many fields. So what my utility patent protects is the space. So like my product is like a sifter or a strainer, right? But it has a holding bin underneath it. So if you imagine a strainer, you know how sometimes like the food strainers have like the bowl underneath? Right. Or even a sifting litter box has like multiple, like trays, and you lift up one and then you put it on the bottom and you lift up the next one. Well, the difference between my idea is that the sifter is way up at the top, and underneath that is a holding bin. So you can literally dump the whole litter box in, and the nasty stays up here, and all the clean litter goes through to the bottom, and that allows you to go and sanitize your litter box or whatever, right? But that utility could be used in so many different formats. So think about like the mechanic wanting to wash his tools. He could put them inside of our strainer, hose them down, and underneath, he's got a place for the dirty water to go, right? Instead of just hosing them down on the ground and getting, so a gardener, let's say they're gardening and they're wanting to wash their vegetables, rinsing them off and not wanting to get dirt down the sink, right? Like this idea of something that holds it way above and not having a bowl or some flat surface right underneath the strainer is what my patent is all about. So it's not just protecting the litter box, it's protecting anyone else who tries to come to market with an idea of, oh, you can strain your vegetables in here when you're out in the garden, and down here we have a thing to catch the water. No, that's my idea, right? So that's what a utility patent is different, is because it can protect you. It can protect your idea across multiple segments. You're protecting the use of something or the idea, the way something works. Where a design patent, you're just going, okay, well, it looks like this. Right. And it's this shape. So then if someone else goes, oh, well, I'll just make mine round. Yours is square. I'll make mine round. Right. Then you really
there's not much you can do about it.
Don't have a claim. Yeah. Right. So that's the thing. But I mean, you really have to think about, like, I've had a lot of people come to me with, they'll differentiate their product in color or something like that. And they're like, oh, I wonder if I should do a patent on it. It's like, why? Why? Like, get to market, make some money, trademark your brand, and get moving. Don't worry about patenting in that case, right? But if you do have something that's completely unique and different, it's worth it to, file a patent on it. And just talk to like a patent agent or a patent attorney that could really help you determine that patentability. And in our program, that's what we do. Like whenever we have, because we help people bring unique things to market, especially, or really differentiated things to market. And that's what our program is all about, because that's harder, right? It's easy to find a product that's very, like, hey, it already exists. Let me go find stock for it. Let me do that. But that's very easy to copy too. And the competition is much higher. If I discover, hey, if I change this way, it's going to be even more appealing for customers, and I'm going to be able to control the price and not get stuck in a price and review war. Well, how do you learn how to do that? How do you actually learn how to develop that product, how to find a supplier, how to talk to them about it? That's what we specialize in. That's what we help people do. So when you're thinking about protecting something, you really want to look at, okay, is it patentable? Should I patent it? And that's when you have those discussions, those initial discussions. A patent agent, I have a couple of patent agents that I use, and they're really incredible. They'll have a discussion with you for no charge, just to talk to you about, okay, is it patentable, right? And then if it is, then, but we've had a couple of people in our program learn that their products really aren't patentable. Does that mean they shouldn't move forward? No, but they need to think of other ways to protect intellectual property. Like you said, a trademark is great.
Yeah, exactly. And now kind of getting to the next step of kind of this conversation, what I'm hearing here is, you've got a product that is kind of adjacent to needs that people have. And one of the things I've kind of noticed in the especially Amazon world, people that go after 100% of the opportunity based on the keywords and what Jungle Scout or Helium 10 tells them, or they go out and do kind of what you did and solve their own problem. And I think of a friend of mine, Kim Meckwood, who invented a product called Click and Carry. It's one of those things that it's hard to even know you needed it. It like kind of helps you hold your grocery bags. She's been on QVC with it. Back in December, she was on Shark Tank. And so when she's able to demonstrate this solves a need you didn't know you had, it becomes much easier to sell. But in something like Amazon, where it's people have to be searching for it, what did you do in your case to make this marketable in an Amazon environment where you have to have customers that know they need it?
Yeah, so it's really important to understand that even if you have something different, and this is the argument that I always get whenever people come to our program, because our program has a really high success rate, because when you know how to do market research and you can bring a product to market that meets needs, you sell out and you're profitable if you understand how to do your numbers and talk to suppliers, all that, right? So we have a really great success rate, and people come to us, and that's usually their argument, because they've heard from other gurus that
all the YouTube ads they keep seeing.
Other gurus say that if you bring something new to market that people aren't searching for,
right,
that you will, that's not a good way to do it. So you're not gonna survive, right? But people are searching for it. So that's the thing, when you're doing your market research, when you're thinking about, and this is a problem that inventors have. I'm on the inventors board for my state inventors club, and and yeah, so we talk to inventors all the time. And one of the things is, like, they get in love with their idea and they don't really think about the marketability of it. And that's a problem, right? Like, you have to make sure that you are looking at the customer and what problems they're searching for. And you have to make sure that your product isn't solved by a reasonable alternative that's much cheaper and easier to use. Like the guy who went on Shark Tank with the camera cover, and he was like, I have solved cybersecurity for everyone. You never have to worry about your camera again. He's like, I invented this cover, and look, you can't see me anymore, right? And Robert Herjavec was like, I just use a piece of tape.
Right, or a Post-it note.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, I'm sorry, I'm not an investor, right? So you have to think, you can't fall so in love with solving. You have to make sure it's a problem for other people too.
A marketable problem that people will pay for. Yes.
And so the thing is, yes, people are not searching for litter box cleaner. but they sure are searching for litter box.
Mm.
And so I already knew how to write a listing. I already know how to convert customers with listings and photos. So as long as I'm showing up where they're searching and using language that they understand, I just wrote a listing for an inventor the other day, and she called her product something that didn't make sense to me. And so I told her, I said, okay, I took this word that you were calling your product out of your listing because it's not that thing. Like, I asked 3 other people just to make sure that I wasn't biased, but and that's the key. So how you do that, whenever you have a product, whether it's unique or whether it's a commodity, it really doesn't matter. The point is you want to make sure that you can get in front of the customer, that you can get them to click. And when they go through your photos, that you're following the sales cycle and you're making sure that they understand, number one, what their problem is, that you understand it, right? What their problem is, like you're bringing it to their attention. Like, you hate cleaning the litter box. You hate scooping. It sucks, right? What your solution is and why they should choose your solution and not anything else on the market, how you solve their problem better than anybody else. So even if you're selling a stupid water bottle that everybody else is selling, if you do a better job of tapping into that need of the customer, you're going to sell more water bottles than your competitors because they're focused on, ours is stainless steel. Nobody cares. They're thirsty. They want cold water. Focus on their problem, focus on your solution, connect with the customer over that. So as long as you can get in front of them and you can convert them when they're going through your photos, you're going to win every time. So what we focus on whenever we have unique products, there's no change. Like the click and carry, she had to go on QVC because that really, that communicated it better. But how many people are on Amazon looking for reusable grocery bags? How many people are on Amazon looking for whatever her product helps them solve, right? She can do product targeting ads. She can do video ads right in front of that keyword and show them, never again are they going to have a problem. They don't need this wagon to carry their groceries anymore. They don't need this other accessory. You can always cross market and you can always make sure that you're using those keywords in your listing and then you're communicating with that customer who's already buying those alternatives. And so that's what we did. We ran ads for litter box, litter, scoops. We ran ads against scoops, because people are buying lots of different of these and it sucks when you have to buy those, right? But you don't have to necessarily worry about, oh my gosh, I'm not going to be able to launch on Amazon. In fact, quite the opposite. Everyone that we've had in our program that has done that has sold out from the start, has not had a problem, number one, getting to page 1, staying on page 1, converting on page 1. That's what it's about, is really presenting an offer to the customer that digs into the problem that they're trying to solve, the reason that they're shopping that day. They find you under that keyword for whatever they're looking for, and then you're communicating to them how you solve their problem and how their life is going to be better with your product.
Got it. So just to make sure I'm understanding this, so it starts off with you kind of find more the outlying similar type of products, because chances are if there's a need, there's something similar, even if it's, not the exact same thing. Like in your case, there's not a product like yours, but people you're solving a problem around litter boxes. And so there's all these, litter box type keywords that you're going after and incorporating into your listing, and you're calling out the problem right then and there, like in the images and in the copy, and like, hey, this sucks. It smells terrible, but this is going to fix it. So that's awesome. So that is kind of, as I understand it, the solution for if your product isn't necessarily an exact thing. Because on the flip side, I think there's far too many people that just kind of take an existing product straight off the shelf off of Alibaba and sell it. And all these other people are selling it. And they're wondering why, but this other guy was selling 100 a day. Well, he's probably giving away 97 of them.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing too is I've had people come to me and go, okay, Amy, this product is on page 1, And, because I do a lot of consulting calls where I go over people's product ideas with them. And they'll say, well, this product's on page 1 and the listing really sucks. And they're making so many sales, and I can beat them. I can do a better listing, and I can totally beat them. And whenever I see a product like that, that's the only one on the page doing well, and the rest are terrible.
Right.
Then I say, okay, that's actually a red flag. It's a red flag if the listing is selling really, really well and doesn't have good reviews, has a terrible listing, because that means they're not getting their traffic from Amazon. That means they're trusted in retail and people are just buying, additional from Amazon. So you're not going to beat them on Amazon. And that's why you always see like copycats launch and they're not doing well, because they're not paying attention to the fact that product, the reason that product is selling so well with a bad listing is because it's trusted off of Amazon. And so sure enough, we Googled that product and they're in like 5 major retailers. They're, Amazon is not a sales channel they care about, but people are buying it on Amazon because they go, oh yeah, I need another one of those. I already bought it in the store. It's fine, And so it's just funny. You do want to pay attention to where your competitors are and what they're doing and whether or not you can beat them on the branding side. Because if they're already in retail and they're already the trusted, and that's another thing for branding, that's a good hack for you guys, is make retail ready packaging, and put it in your main image, because people are going to think that they saw that product in retail and they will immediately trust it more than all the other ones on the page. So if you have a commodity product that you're trying to sell and you want it to be trusted, go ahead and create retail ready packaging and put it in your main image. And then you get text in the main image, you get to stand out, and people will immediately associate that with products that they know, like, and trust already in retail, and they will most likely choose yours over, the competition. So that's kind of another hack. But whenever you're thinking about launching a product and you really need to do the competitive analysis, and you need to do that off of Amazon, not just on Amazon. And I always have people come to me and say, well, Amy, this competitor, the other day I had a lady come to me and she said, this competitor is doing this well. It was a free listing review. I do listing reviews for people. So if you guys ever want a listing review, you can just go to amazingathome.com, and underneath my services menu, it says free listing review, and you can send me your listing and I'll actually do a video for you. No strings attached. I'll do a video for you and tell you why whatever pain point you're having is not working, right? And she did this, and she sent me a listing review request. And it was she said, I can't understand why I can't keep up with this competitor. I Googled that competitor. They were really the only ones doing that well on the page for that product. It was a very common product, easy to copy, easy to do, right? And I Googled them. They're in Sears, they're in Walmart, they're in, and so that's the problem is, remember you guys, 65% of Amazon's external traffic comes from search. And who owns 89% of search? Google. So if you're only ranking on Amazon, you're going to have a problem doing really, really well in some categories that matter off of Amazon.
Well, what were some things you could do to make it more Google friendly?
Well, you can sell in other channels, which is good, right? You can ensure that when you write your listing, that you don't just write it for Amazon, that you look at what keywords are popular for that topic on Google. You can really make sure that your brand has really great representation across the internet. It has a good web footprint. So Pinterest, organic posts on social media, using SEO. YouTube is really great. People look for unboxings on YouTube. It's like the second highest referral source to Amazon is YouTube. So, making sure that even if it's you making videos, write Wikipedia articles about your products, you can
do that.
Yes. Yes.
That's a hack I've never heard before. And that makes so much sense because it's like Wikipedia is like always on the first page for everything.
Answer questions on Quora. Like you guys live on the internet and know what your keywords are. And you're going to show up more in search on Google, right? And you're also going to, if you do things like you could run some Google ads, one of our launch strategies, whenever you launch a product with us, what we teach you is that you should be launching on Amazon, but you should have 3 forms of external traffic, and one of them should be Google search ads. Because remember how much traffic comes from search? Yeah, Google search ads, they're cheap to Amazon. They're so cheap, and they follow you around. They follow your customer around the internet, so they follow them onto blogs and everything else, and it's a really great way. Of course, it's better to be organically ranked, right? Because once you stop the Google ads, you stop getting that traffic, right? But so do a little combination, some organic traffic, make sure you kind of exist across the internet, and just slowly start building up your web footprint and your web presence, and you're going to do really, really well. If you sell in other channels, again, it's a really great way because those domains are very highly ranked. So if you're selling in Walmart.com, you're selling in retail, you've been featured in many blogs, you can definitely get a lot more traffic to your listing. I did a deal where my products were featured in a bunch of different blogs and stuff like that, like popular, like Mashable and Daily Caller and stuff like that. And it's funny because this company that I went through, it's like a PR type company. The company that I went through, they do deals with different popular media outlets, right? And they'll actually offer coupons for your products. And so they were selling my product for like $10 cheaper than, I think almost $15 cheaper than you can buy it on Amazon.
Oh, wow.
And my Amazon sales still exploded because people are already Prime members. They're already, so they're like, oh, okay, cool. Mashable says this is great. Let me go try it over here.
Right. They weren't necessarily price shopping, but there was the added benefit of the rising tide.
Yep. So it's just, it's cool if you can get your products kind of featured in the media and you can get that going, and then just do everything you can to create that footprint for yourself as well.
Well, so you've done pretty well in getting this pretty big web properties there. So what tips would you have for someone that's, reaching out to blogs or influencers?
Well, I mean, just utilize PR. Know that there's a lot of different PR firms. There's a lot of different things that you can do, like utilize your PR stuff. And you can go even on Fiverr or Upwork and you can search for press release. And there are people that are distributors already that will write and distribute press releases for you. So, don't be afraid. I mean, I looked the other day and it was like $75 for a premium service for somebody to both write an article for you and distribute it at Fox, NBC, ABC, the major media outlets. So why wouldn't you take advantage of that? The tip that I have for you though is you have to really know your customer. And this is a tip across everything that you do. You should always be focused on your customer. I can't tell you, Kevin, how many people have come to me for a launch strategy call and I'll say, okay, we're good on Amazon. We're going to make sure we have an incredible listing that really communicates to the customer. Now, we're going to set up 3 forms of external traffic for your launch. Where are we going? And they look at me and they go, what? What does that mean? Like Facebook? And it's like, well, I don't know. Is your customer on Facebook? Where does your customer hang out? They don't know their customer. They've only done product analysis and they don't understand who their customer is, what problem their product solves for their customer, and where their customer hangs out and talks about that problem. And so unless you know where your customer hangs out and talks about that problem, you're going to be ineffective at marketing. Even on Amazon, because how do you expect them to convert on Amazon? And my number one rule is always like, I don't want you paying for clicks that aren't going to convert. Like, why would we have a crappy listing and not be communicating the customer problem and paying for all those clicks that aren't converting. If your clicks aren't converting, there's a problem with your listing and your ability to communicate to the customer. So that's just so important for everyone. So remember, if you're going to do a media story, make sure that you're in tune to the problem that your product is solving. And it's okay if it's a commodity product and you're solving the same problem as another. Do a better job of communicating it. Do a better job of earning that customer's trust, because nobody wants to read an article that's like super, super salesy and only talks about like, you need this water bottle. No, like this is the absolute best water bottle for weight training. And it's the best because it's the best. It keeps your water the best temperature for weight training. You don't want it super cold. You don't want it super hot. You want to maintain the temperature, whatever. I'm just making that up, but it sounds good.
Right. No, it did. I was like, oh, write that down.
You're like, where can I get this water bottle?
Yeah.
Exactly. That's what you want, right? So whenever you're thinking about branding or you want to get your product noticed across the internet, make sure you understand that niche, that tap into that problem that your customer has, and then spread the news, tell everybody about it, and connect.
Awesome. So just to kind of close out here, and this might be a very broad topic, but as you're expanding off of Amazon, what tips would you have for someone to get into some of these other retailers and things like that? And I did already have Taylor offer, who I know that you sometimes work with on getting into retail stores. He was on a previous episode, which we'll have a link to in the show notes. But
great. Yeah. Taylor is great, and he is actually my retail mentor, and he has really helped me. What I would do, first of all, is really think about maximizing the channels that you have already. So think about, okay, how can I maximize Amazon? A lot of people mistakenly, in my opinion, kind of build out their website. And if you're really wanting to be a big brand, it's not necessarily important that you sell a lot on your website, right? Customers generally like to buy from big channels. They like to buy from Amazon. They like to buy from Walmart. They like to buy from retailers. So it's important to think about, where do customers like to buy? Sometimes if you have like a really kind of niche thing, people will like to buy from your website, and there's nothing wrong with that. But a lot of people spend all this money. They like follow the Shopify squirrel, and they're like, ooh, I'm going to build out my Shopify. And it's not necessarily important for A, selling your business, or B, really exponential growth. So focus on those channels that matter to your customer. So if it's, first I would go after the channels that are really easy, like Amazon and Walmart. Those are easy to get into. Wayfair, super easy. It's a drop shipping site, so you can sell on those. And especially if you have a home good, like sell it on Wayfair. That's where people go in America to buy home goods, So that would be my first piece of advice, is maximize the channels that you're already in. A lot of people even expand on Amazon before they have the bandwidth or the margin to do that. And I've had many clients that will come to me and like, yeah, I'm already in Canada and the UK, and they're losing money with every sale. And it's like, okay, let's pull it back. Let's fix what we're doing. Let's look at our numbers. Let's maximize everything that we're doing. And then let's grow and scale. So first, make sure that you're profitable where you are.
Right.
Look at those secondary channels. They're very easy to get into. And then do your analysis of your customer and go, okay, I've maximized Amazon. I've maximized Walmart. It's good to go. Like, I'm good. My next retailer that I would really love to go after is Chewy or Home Depot or whatever it is, right? And then really start thinking about what your margin needs to be. You need to set up your pricing. You need to set up your inventory. It's different logistics. It's different inventory. It's different delivery methods, right? Because you're selling in bulk. You're going to need different packaging for many of your retail stores. So my best advice is just make sure that either set yourself up as retail ready from the very beginning and make sure you have the margins and pricing to do that, or learn what's necessary and then do that customer analysis and go, okay, where could I really make an impact? And realize, like, some of the subscription box companies that we have. So we have, Taylor and I have a retail matching service where you can come to us and we have a huge repository of retailers, subscription boxes, stuff like that, that we can get your products into. But the most important thing for us to be able to do that for you is that you have inventory outside of Amazon, right? And that you're able to fulfill those. Some of the subscription box companies that we work with, the minimum order quantity is 50,000 units. So you need to be ready to sell 50,000 units.
Now, what kind of lead time would you get for 50,000 units, though? I mean,
sometimes you can order it straight from your factory, and you can quote the price, FOB, whatever it is. So,
gotcha. But it's not like, hey, we need this next week.
Sometimes it can be. Okay. Sometimes it can be, but it's about understanding. But it's exciting too.
Oh yeah,
right? The thing about retail is you're not going to make the kind of sales like Amazon. You get those daily sales, which is really, really nice. But retail, you could have one sale that just like changes your world, and you're like, like right now, we're talking to Costco about, some of our products, and we're excited about that. And that's going to take some warming up. But the thing is to be able to deliver to a retailer like that, like you're talking some really big orders, and then you got to make sure that you can follow up and you can sell through. And, so just like setting up on Amazon, it's a new platform to learn. It's a new, and that's why I have a mentor that's done it many times and always pushes me. But, it's important to just understand what you're getting into. Just like you took the time to learn Amazon, take the time to learn how to set up your products for retail. And know if it's the right fit for you. There's absolutely nothing wrong with staying on Amazon, but yeah, retail can definitely be a game changer for both your brand, your web presence, your trust factor with your audience, and your multiplier when you go to sell your business.
Awesome. Well, this is a very interesting conversation, and you've definitely taken a different path than I have in a lot of things, and I definitely commend you for being able to figure out the off Amazon part. So my strategy has always kind of been keep going with a wider net on Amazon as much as possible. Because for me, I've found my sales on Amazon Canada are way more profitable and plentiful than say Walmart.com. But I haven't gotten into the retail footprint. And, the thing of it is, like, I don't know that my products have as good of a story as I think yours does. And so I think, if someone has something that has a really good story, or, even if it's a commodity product, solves it in a slightly different way, or, again, the story behind it.
The cool thing about retail is you don't need something special. You really don't. Like most of the Taylor and I did a retail masterclass together where we teach people how to set up, and we still have that masterclass. If anyone wants to learn, you can go check it out. But anyway, the thing is most of the products that we use as an example in that course are very like standard products. And I had a coaching call this morning, and this client sells fitness products that are very saturated on Amazon, not saturated at all in retail. And she's got great branding. So that's what I told her. I was like, these are small. They would fit great in subscription boxes. This would be a great product on the shelf, for example, at Nordstrom or Macy's, why don't you're going to sell way more volume. She's losing money in PPC, right? Because it's just so expensive to sell, fitness products on Amazon because everybody is going, So if you can do some of those larger bulk orders and you don't have to worry about the Amazon PPC advertising costs. So number one rule, don't think that you need a special product to sell in retail.
Interesting.
All you need is wow branding. If you have wow branding, you can do so well in retail with a very, very simple yet saturated product on Amazon.
Awesome. Well, if somebody wanted to check out more of your work or follow you, where would they go?
So you guys can go to amazingathome.com. We also have a Facebook group. It's a very friendly group. We don't allow any haters or spammers, but it's a very close-knit group on Facebook called Amazing at Home. So Either way, you guys can reach out anytime. LinkedIn, amazingathome.com, Facebook group, Amazing at Home. And we'd love to hear from you. And as I mentioned, that's a free offer to everyone. If you ever want me to take a look at your listing, if you're having problems converting or your PPC, you're spending too much on clicks, let me know. Go to amazingathome.com/listing-review and just give me your link and I will send a confidential review back to you and just let you know. And that's just something that I really enjoy doing because I'm a total nerd about that stuff. So.
Well, I love it. And I can definitely sense the passion there. So that's awesome. So if you'd like to check out all those links, you can go to maximizingecommerce.com/103. And I will have links to all of that where you can check out those pages as well. So thank you so much, Amy, for coming on. This is a really fun conversation.
Thank you for having me. It was awesome. It was really great to learn kind of the different paths that people take and to be able to share my story. Thanks so much.
Awesome. Thank you.